Hello and welcome to Sweet Southern Sports, where we talk all about the SEC. Today we'll be looking at the football team for the Ole Miss Rebels 2025 season predictions. So keys to a strong season is that Austin Simmons steps up. So last year they had Jackson Dart, who played extremely well, especially early in the year, really led this team. It's going to be really important that Austin Simmons steps up and that he uses his legs. So this is a really athletic guy. He had some experience to come in a couple of times. I think Lane Kiffin is pretty excited about what he can do. But it's going to be really important that he doesn't throw ball into coverage. He's really believes in himself, but it's going to be really important that he stays calm and he makes the right decisions throughout the year. Lane Kiffin magic. So Lane Kiffin is one of the best offensive coaches in the league. Really, just from the ability of him to put defenses in tricky spots. I think it's going to be a really big year for Lane Kiffin to have a really strong coaching year, as he has a lot of transfers that are filling in, which is the last key to a strong season. Lane Kiffin has just a lot of new pieces coming in, which is good, and they should play well, but it's going to be important that he sets them up for success. So let's look at the schedule. Not too bad to start off, as they start off with Georgia State at home, then they have at Kentucky, Arkansas at home, Tulane at home, and then LSU at home. So out of these games, I do see them going 4-0 in their first few games. I think they'll handle all these teams and win by double digits. Then they play LSU at home. So this one was crazy last year. Really came down to the wire as LSU threw a pass in overtime to win the game. I think this one will be another tight one, but I think LSU will pull away in the fourth quarter, as they just have such an explosive offense this year and a lot of experience. I just think that that team's going to be a really, really tough match for the Ole Miss Rebels to be able to keep up. I think it will be a high scoring game, but again, I think LSU will find a way to win. So that brings Ole Miss to 4-1 at this point, going into their first bye week. Then coming off of their bye week, they have versus Washington State. Washington State is a sneaky good team. They're not great. I think Ole Miss will handle them, but it's just a weird game to see, especially this like late in the year. Then they have at Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina, Citadel, and Florida. So really tough stretch for the Ole Miss Rebels here, especially having their bye week so late in the year. That's a really, really tough scheduling spot for them. So usually you want to see those bye weeks coming as much like in the middle of the season as possible. Having a bye week that late in the season can be pretty hurtful, especially with how tough these schedules are. But I do see during this stretch that they split the six matchups here and go 3-3. So I think they beat Washington State, they handled them, but and then at Georgia, I think Georgia just has too many great players, and I think they're going to step up and just be able to handle Ole Miss pretty easily. At Oklahoma will be a really, really good game. I just think this one could be one of those toss-up games, but Oklahoma just has Mateer, and I think their offense is going to be rolling, and their defense is going to be really tough to beat, especially on the road. So I do see Ole Miss losing that. South Carolina will be a super tough one. I'm giving this to the home field for Ole Miss, but anytime that you're playing Lenore Sellers this year and that South Carolina team, very dangerous. But South Carolina was handled pretty good by them last year, as Ole Miss won 27-3. So I think they can figure them out again. The Citadel, easy, nice little cupcake game, and then they play Florida coming into Ole Miss. So um, when it comes to this game, it will come down to the wire, but I just think DJ Lagway will make some plays this year for Florida at the QB spot, and I think Ole Miss will just struggle to be able to take down Florida. Obviously, this is a revenge game for Ole Miss, as Florida ruined their season last year. I just don't think that Ole Miss matches up well with Florida, and I think Florida will be able to get the job done. Then they go into a very late bye week before they play at Mississippi State, which, especially with time to rest, I think that they will easily get the win in the Egg Bowl. So after all this said, I have Ole Miss going 8-4. Best case scenario is 11-1 though. This team is really dependent on these transfers coming in and their quarterback stepping up, but they really have some really good chances here. I mean, you look at it at the LSU game. Obviously, they get that at home. They get Georgia, which is a tough one. That's probably their toughest game of the year. But then they're at Oklahoma, that's winnable. And then they also have Florida coming on the road to their place. So, I mean, when it comes to 11-1 in all these close games, it's a possibility. But they could also go 5-7. That would be their worst case scenario. So if this offense cannot get clicking and they struggle, and these transfers just don't fill in well, there is just so much games that they have to focus on. Because even when you look at their out of conference, Washington State and Tulane are not easy. Just like go out there and easily win without trying teams. You have to prepare really well for them. So that 5-7 is definitely a possibility for this Ole Miss Rebels team. But I think Lane Kiffin gets them going. I do think they missed the playoffs, but they'll be in the contention pretty late in the year for a playoff spot this year. So. After all that said, thank you so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to comment, and I will look forward to seeing you in our next video.